Number one Ibble Dibble here. Hello, friends. Welcome back. This is my review of With Love, Meghan, episode 1. In this episode, the crazy and wrong starts loud and strong right off the bat. Or I should say, quietly.
The biggest thing is keeping a low tone. Talking our B-boys. Good vibes for good vibes. You know what it is? It's like also that reminder to do something that scares you a little bit. That's part of it. I'm trying to stay in the calm of it because it's beautiful to be disconnected.
Bees don't have ears. I think that's where telling it to the bees comes from. You can be as brokenhearted for as long as you want and repeat yourself as much as you like because they can't hear you. Here's my theory on Meghan's conspiratorial whisper. I think she started doing it because Melody Hobson told her to on one of the Archetypes podcasts.
I do believe sometimes you have to be small to be very big. I was on a board with someone once, years and years and years ago, and the person is a giant figure in some ways. And every single time I talked to him, if we were standing on one side of the room and I started talking, I would find he would back up. And by the time our conversation was over, we were on the other side of the room.
What?
So he was literally like backing up away from me throughout,
What?
Yes, he would back up. He's physically showing me how uncomfortable he is. So I get to New York one day and I'm checking into a hotel and he's in the lobby. Okay. And I'm like, I'm going to try something different. So we see each other, he says hello, and I start whispering. And I'm like, hi, how are you? So good to see you. And so he like leans in. And I'm like, he's like, how long are you in town? I'm like, oh, I'm just here for a couple days. I've just got some work to do. And so he sits, he leans in a little more and he's like, Melody, sit with me. Just my tone, I just whispered. I just tried it. I was like, I just want to see, is there another approach for this person? Because this person I could learn a lot from, a lot. And I would like to be able to have a real conversation with them, but they just couldn't do it in my full self.
So it's just the persona or the idea of it by standing in your authority can somehow feel uncomfortable or threatening to people to the point that I think as women, we find these ways to, I don't know, show up, as you say, in a different way, like by whispering almost brings them in. Or even on, I had the Angry Black Woman episode.
Okay, but does this man look cowed or disgusted by Meghan? No, of course not. He is absolutely lovely. But she's not talking to him. She's talking to the invisible, harshly judgmental businessmen who are genuinely very put off by her. The team at Netflix. I kind of think this is the headspace where her magic of homemaking theme was born as well. It's like a little kid at a magic show, waiting and whispering for the reveal while the illusionist cantillates. I mean, how old are these girls? Finally, I think she's just copying this other chick with a cooking show who's kinda everything Meghan ever dreamed of being when she planned her Hollywood comeback, but wasn't. If you're not familiar, Nara Smith is a half Masutu, half German South African model, and I mean real model, not this kind of supermodel. Nara has done runway and editorial, but mostly she gets paid to dress up and attend fashion shows and or post about them on social media by the most high-end brands. Prada, Schiaparelli, Calvin Klein, because she has over 11.5 million followers on TikTok and over 4.6 million followers on Instagram. And her husband, Lucky, is an actual supermodel, one of the icons of his generation. And what is Nara doing in these runway looks on TikTok? Cooking from scratch. Nara gets easily 1,000 times, probably more, the eyeballs Meghan gets in the same niche for 90 seconds of content. And her signature is this low talk.
Around the holidays is when I find myself craving desserts more than anything else. I bloom my gelatin in some milk and combine that with warm, heavy cream and some sugar and some vanilla. Put some plastic on top and pop that in the fridge for about 4 hours. In the meantime, I work on my raspberry sauce by combining some lemon, raspberries, and sugar. This was divine.
That's a $24,000 Ferragamo dress. She supposedly started doing it pretending she didn't want to wake up her very young children, but now she just talks that way in every video. It's her signature.
When we went to IKEA this morning and I saw the Swedish meatballs, I started craving them immediately. I knew that they would be mediocre at best.
Nara obviously has a lot of things Meghan doesn't have. Popularity, some cooking skills, the ability to find neutrals that actually flatter her complexion, and more than one set of extensions. But most importantly, in fact, I would call it the magic ingredient to Nara's success that Meghan just can't figure out. She has a modicum of self awareness and a sense of humor.
My husband gave me a very specific look, and I knew it could only mean one thing. He was craving Japanese barbecue and a whole bunch of meat, which Lucky's in charge of. One thing he makes sure is that I always get the first portion. When Lucky gets obsessed with something, he has to have it over and over again.
LOL. That's why, if the voice works at all, it works on Nara and not on Meghan. Meghan's next little project is making bath salts. This looks nuts and is the kind of thing I do not touch. Homemade bath salts? Nope, no. I'm not surprised people are saying her recipe, or rather lack thereof, might actually be very hard on skin. Call me totally uncreative, but I actually think it's a good idea to offer guests something safe and reliable and recognizable, as well as a bit luxurious if you have the cash, you know. If someone's really your friend, they don't mind Pert 3-in-1 and generic Epsom salts with a glass of white wine from a box. That's true friendship. But if you can afford a bit of bougie, I think don't put anyone off with anything super niche. Diptyque has had the New York guest bath market cornered for, I don't know, 25 years now. Same with Molton Brown in London. Everyone knows them. The fragrances are never too much. No one is scared of using their bath salts. It's important to remember that keeping guests comfy and confident is more important than projecting your own taste. If someone's complimented a candle or perfume you've had in the past, maybe leave that in their room. Now, I don't know how long Daniel is staying, but this jar of bath salts is extremely huge. And towards the end, she just gives up on her essential oils and mixing bowl entirely and just starts pouring a huge amount of undoctored Epsom salts into the jar on top of her curious mixture, and then an entire jar of pink Himalayan sea salt on top of that. I guess just to try to fill up this giant jar. It's crazy that they put this on camera. It's psycho that this is the first little project, the first thing she's teaching us how to make. It's just so obvious that she's never done this before. If she had done this even once before filming, she'd have been able to eyeball how much she needed to mix up based on the size of the jar. Used a bigger bowl, used a smaller jar. I genuinely don't get it. It's only her, there's no dialogue. You have all of the ingredients on hand. Everyone's already there for the day. It's not a live show, just reshoot. If you don't have a right size bowl or a right size jar, find one. Call lunch, send out a PA, find one. Is this some sort of loyalty test, popularity test for Meghan? Because any rational consumer of homemaking content would just click off right here and never come back. Then she puts this giant jar of bath salts on a tray and starts adding some wildflowers to little vases to fill up the tray, which is fine. But she tells us
it's just a sweet gesture. It's just all these little things are letting someone know that you're thinking of them.
that's crazy. That's Crazy. I'm so sorry. I'm going to run out of synonyms for crazy. I can tell already. Is there a human on earth who doesn't know about flowers? Is she going to tell us about chocolate and diamonds next? So here are the possibilities in my mind. Vote in the comments below. 1. She thinks her viewers are cavemen. 2. She's doing this on purpose, so Netflix never asks her to do a how-to series ever again. 3. She's really just this vapid and irritating all the time, and no one on set is getting paid enough to help her. 4. Production is actively sabotaging her and she's too lazy to give a shit. 5. The write-in option. Do you have a better guess? Let us know in the comments. When she's done gesturing with blooms, there's a huge full frame zoom on the tray, like she's really done something here. Okay, that's enough for this video. I'm doing these in little snippets rather than truly long form because Netflix is copyright claiming anything critical of Meghan like crazy. My last video, I had to edit and re-upload 4 times, 5 times. Dear Netflix and Meghan, every time you copyright claim something clearly fair use and dumb, like a 6-second clip of Harry reacting to you saying you don't remember your wedding song, I will be replacing it with a still image of tone deaf bananas or brown sweater with sweaty pits. Toodles. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.